Hey everybody, we are back and working in the reading journal. This guy's getting pretty chunky, and I'm okay with that, but getting pretty chunky. So I've got 2 books that I'm working on that I read, but I feel like we're in a new month. I feel like I need to kind of reassess where I'm at with my reading journal. April read Big Magic. April's books are, I think, in my upside down bracket. Yep, I've got my April. So we're in May now, so nothing else needs to be done with that. And boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. And get on down in here. Yep. That's the... Okay, so here's where we are, but I feel like I've got some stuff, some unfinished business back here. Now, this, I forgot that I was doing this. It's the ABC challenge. So, let's see here. The women, growing up Urkel. I'm trying to see how far I've got. The cabin, is it on there? Yep. The women is on there. The most. A Year to Live. Year to Live is on there. We'll prescribe you a cat. That would be W, but that's the women. From Here to the Great Unknown. So that's a F. From Here to the Great, that's on there. Okay. Well, we're not as far as behind as I thought. We Weren't Looking to Be Found would be a W, and we've got that. Of Time and Turtles. We could do that one. Gotta find the pen I was using. It's a little pen. So, Of Time and Turtles is my O. Of Time and Turtles. And I'll get out my colored pencils and color those in just a minute. Let's Call Her Barbie would be an L. We can do that. Let's Call Her Barbie. Love and Other Things is an L. What the Chicken Knows is a W, and we've got plenty of those. The Locked Door is an L, and we got that. A Wolf Called Romeo. We got a W. Big Magic for B. We can do that one. And then while we're here, the 2 books that I read were Coreyography, which is a C, and My Time to Stand, excuse me, which is an M, so we got that. So we're okay with there. I don't have my colored pencils anywhere handy, but I do have some. I have a squeaky chair. I do have some crayons, so let's color with crayons. Big Magic. I probably really should do Let's Color Barbie in pink, but Time and Turtles. And Let's Call Her Barbie. Okay. Not too shabby for working on the ABC challenge. And then I've got 2 pages back here for my Kristen Hanna books and my Jodi Picoult books. I haven't read any of them lately. And I think I want to, I've been playing around with the idea of doing a back page for Frida McFadden. I read The Locked Door, but she's got a lot of thriller, horror that aren't really, they're not really, that one that I read, The Locked Door, was not really scary to me. And so I thought what I would do is do a Frida McFadden page and do an Elizabeth Gilbert page. Mainly because I've read several Elizabeth Gilbert books, and she's coming out with a new one this year, and so I'm gonna do that, but not today. But we're gonna do that. So on to this. I'm gonna do 2 different spreads, I think, mainly because I don't have a lot with the books that I read. So I read Gypsy Rose Blanchard, My Time to Shine, My Time to Stand. I know she's very controversial, her situation, and I'll be honest, she's got a new show on Lifetime called Life After Lockup, and I don't know why. I guess because it's the whole train wreck theory, that if you're gonna watch a train wreck, and I like the series, but it's like, why am I so engrossed in this series? Again, I like to read about people and their life stories, basically. And so, there you have it. I'm watching the documentary on Lifetime, and they kept talking about her book, and I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And my library had it, so I audiobooked it. She was the narrator, which was really cool. I love it when the author narrates their own book. I feel like you get a better feel for the book and how it's supposed to be read, because they wrote it. And then I have this really big rose sticker I thought would be kind of cool on this page. But it's a memoir about her life, and so I don't really have a lot of stuff about her. So I just kind of thought I would do something really simple like that, is my thinking. Maybe I can tear out the title. My doors and windows are open because the weather feels fabulous right now. I feel like that's repetitive, but I didn't know what else to do. And I like to have the cover of the book on there somewhere. Tear out her name, see if I can work with that somewhere. Anyways, if you know her story, if you follow her story, I was impressed with this book, to be honest. If you know her, she kind of has, some people will say she kind of has a really annoying voice, and that did not come across in the book. So there is that. So that's a good thing. I like to read about people and their life, and this I've kind of followed her story, And again, I'm watching the documentary, so I kind of know the story. But this was kind of like, it's like all the social media and media aside, this is her telling her story. In a more personal setting, I guess, because, you know, it's just her and reading her book. Reading her book, basically. So I felt good about it. I enjoyed the book. It's kind of one of those things. It's like, not that I am, but it's like, am I supposed to feel bad because I liked this book? Am I supposed to feel bad because I'm following this chick? You know, because again, she's super controversial. Some people just really don't like her. They don't like her for what she was involved in and what she did. But then there's a handful of people that sympathize with her because of what she went through. Both sides of the fence, and I can see both sides of the fence, but I mean, I like her. I think she has a story to tell, and I think we all have stories to tell, and hers is just, hers is a rough story to tell. So let's see. I really hope this is a sticker. It is. Lovely. Lovely big sticker. Perfect spot for it. Where else was I going to use this humongous big rose sticker? I don't know. So again, I didn't really have much to use with this because, I mean, I didn't really want to put pictures of her mom on here. And of course, that's what her book is about, is her life with her mom and the abuse and all that. And so I just want to really focus on her. So there you have it. I finished this book. I feel like I've been gobbling up books. I mean, I think it's like the 10th or the 11th of May right now. And I've read 2 books already, and I've read 2 books completed. I'm almost done with a 3rd book, and I started a new book yesterday. So I've got a lot of irons in the fire when it comes to books, and I try not to do that, but sometimes you just gotta. Okay, My Time to Stand, Gypsy Rose. I read that on May 6th. May 6th. I think that's pretty enough collage. Simple enough. Okay, and then the next one, I'm going to move right into the next one. The next one I read was Coreyography by Corey Feldman. Here's the cover of it. Corey Feldman was a big star in the 80s when I was growing up. I had a crush on Corey Feldman. And my all-time favorite movie in the whole wide world, always has been, probably always will be, is Stand By Me. And my favorite character in Stand By Me was Corey Feldman. So there you have it. Coreyography is the memoir about Corey Feldman. And this was a very nostalgic read for me. Let me let that airplane go by. This was a very nostalgic read for me because I watched the Gremlins growing up. I watched, obviously, Stand By Me growing up, The Goonies, and then in my teen years, him and Corey Haim were pretty popular. You know, and he was connected to Michael Jackson, and I'm a huge fan of Michael Jackson. And so this book was a very nostalgic read for me, and I loved it. Sometimes memoirs to me jump around. This was so superbly written. It started out, you know, first off, let me just say, spoilers, you know, may happen. I don't know. But it started out with him talking about the death of his good friend Corey Haim, which, if any of you guys know, in the 80s, Corey Feldman and Corey Haim were at each other's hips. So it starts out with the death of Corey Haim, and then which is kind of the is it the epilogue that I'm thinking of? Where it kind of tells you the last part of the book, you know. Anyways, circling back around. And then it jumps into him being 3 and 4 years old, doing the Gremlins. And then it goes into him doing the Goonies. And then it goes into him doing Stand By Me. So here's him in the Goonies. And here's him in Stand By Me. Here's him in Gremlins. And here's him with Michael Jackson. And here's a picture of him and Corey Haim from when I remember them. I remember that Corey Haim. I remember that Corey Feldman, you know. If you Google Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, there's a lot of newer images than that, but that's what I remember about Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, so that's the one I printed off. Anywho, this book was pretty raw, pretty blatant. Talks a lot about drug use. Talks a lot about pedophilia. Talks a lot about his growing up in Hollywood, in the movie industry. So yeah, it was pretty, again, pretty raw, pretty out there, but it was good. It stayed in chronological order. Again, from the Gremlins to the Goonies to Stand By Me to all the different movies and shows and things like that he was involved in, and up until you know, it talks about his marriages and his son that he had, and up until the ending is about Corey Haim's death. So we full circle from the start of the book to the end of the book. And I appreciated that it was in chronological order. I was blown away by the ability, and I'm almost certain he had help with this book, but the ability to remember, okay, when I was working on this movie, I was whacked out on this drug. And when I was, you know, auditioning for this movie, I was doing this with so-and-so. And it amazes me that he can recall all of that. Because it was a lot, and he went through a lot. He was abused as a child, and grew up in a horrible home, and so yeah. So let me see. As far as backgrounds, I pulled out these two pieces of paper. They're thin origami paper, which would be great for a background. And I pulled these. So I know, first off, Coreyography, the photo of him on this, on the cover of the book, was when he kind of went through a phase of emulating and dressing like Michael Jackson with the greasy hair and the slicked back, long hair and the black jacket and the, just the kind of the whole get up of Michael Jackson, the red and the black and all that. And this little scrap makes me think of that. So I was kind of thinking, okay, what kind of piece together kind of stuff. And these two backgrounds I pulled out because the book is a lot about drug use. And so these kind of make me think psychedelic, psychedelics. And so I'm kind of leaning more towards this one. And I kind of want to, it's going to be tricky putting all these on here. And some of them I might cut out, like I might cut him out of here and cut him out of here. I feel like I need to trim that. All in all, it was a really good book. If you are a fan of Corey Feldman, even though I know he's kind of been controversial as well, because of his connection with Michael Jackson and because of his connection with drugs, and he got a bad rap, but and I think he still gets a bad rap, but he talks a lot about getting sober, and so if you're a fan of Corey Feldman, if you're an 80s nostalgia baby, I suggest reading this. It was really good. My friend who's a reader, she was more of a Corey Haim, fan. And so we kind of talked about it last night, but I'm more of a Corey Feldman fan. I enjoyed The Goonies. I enjoyed Gremlins. Stand By Me was by far my favorite book. No, my favorite movie was based on a book, The Body by Stephen King, which I recommend you read that as well. But the movie is, if you've not seen Stand By Me from the 80s, 84, 86, find it, rent it, watch it. It's so good. Even watching it today, sometimes older movies, when you watch them today, are like, ooh, what? The cinematography was horrible, or the acting was rough, or, but I highly recommend it. I'm feeling that there. And that's his book cover. And while this is the train scene, let me just cut him out here first. I'll give you a little hair trim, buddy. Your hair's going a little wild. Welcome to the 80s. We had wild hair. And then I think I want to keep this picture of him and Michael Jackson. And I think I want to keep this picture of him and Corey Haim. I knew I would run out of space. I think I am going to have to cut him out of here. In Stand By Me, he played Teddy Duchamp. I don't know how his last name's pronounced. I mean, I know, but when I start to say it, it's like, is that right? And this was the famous scene in that where he does a train dodge. And his buddies save him. They pull him off the tracks. So the movie was in the 1980s, but it was set in like the 1950s. About 4 kids. The movie Stand By Me. About 4 kids who go on a hunt to find a body. A dead body. So... I think with the gremlin page, I feel like if it's going to be on here, it's got to have the gremlin in it. So maybe we don't put it on there. Maybe we just kind of do this. So let's see if we can piece it together. So here he is in the red and the black with Michael Jackson, which again, this is what this reminds me of. I don't know why. I don't know why. It just does. It just does. So we're going to go with it. We're working with it. We are working with it. It was a good book. Again, I'm a fan of memoirs. This is a memoir as well. So far for May, these 2 are the books that I finished. This one has my top pick. Although I can appreciate both of them. Definitely can appreciate both of them. I just thought, if you're looking for a train wreck, check out Gypsy Rose Blanchard's show, Life After Lockup. If you're looking for a train dodge, check out Stand By Me with Corey Feldman. There wasn't a lot of talk about Stand By Me. I mean, there was talk about Stand By Me, but a lot of this book was about his relationships and friendships with people over the years, and about the drug use, and but he did talk quite a bit about the movies and the shows that he did, which again, it kind of astounds me that he can remember. He can remember the things that he did. And I was digging through my stickers, and I found a little sticker that says youth. And so, again, I didn't have a lot to go with this either, but maybe we'll just poke that there. That was just a sticker page that I found. I don't think I have anything else. Yeah. So, we're not going to use this. May 9th was when I finished this book. And I'm going to call that done. check out these two books. My Time to Stand by Gypsy Rose Blanchard, if you're into her story. If you follow her story, whether you agree with it or not, or how you feel about it, if you follow her and know her story and you like memoirs, then I recommend you read it. If you have 80s nostalgia, grew up with the Goonies and the Gremlins and the Stand By Me's and all of those lovely things, and then the heartthrobs, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, and you like memoirs, I suggest that one. So there you have it. Thanks for joining me. Like I said, I'm gonna work on an Elizabeth Gilbert page and a Frida McFadden page back in the back, and again, to kind of build in my reading journal. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you guys next time. Again, I'm in the middle of a handful of books right now, so I'll be back soon enough. Bye for now.